Welcome back, guys, gals, and non-binary pals to Brownlow Books. I am continuing / wrapping up my middle grade May reading, and my middle grade buys, 98% of them come from like book outlet or used book sales, and because they're so cheap, I generally go on vibes. Do I like the cover? Does it have a good vibe? Okay. And so that's led me to this book. And the vibes are different. Uh, this book kind of presents itself differently than what it ends up being. So, I read How to Be a Girl in the World by Caela Carter. Lydia lives with her mom and her cousin. She's in the summer between 6th and 7th grade. She's not really talking to her friends. She doesn't like the boys at school because they're like teasing her and making comments. And that's kind of where we're set up. And then it goes a lot darker. And like, not slowly. So, Lydia starts wearing long sleeves, turtlenecks, pants in the middle of summer because she's trying to take back her body. She is, bumped into by men on the subway. She goes to a baseball game with her dad, and there's like a guy just like man spreading, and like his bare leg is touching her bare leg, and she feels so uncomfortable, but she doesn't know if she can say anything, if she can say she's uncomfortable, if she can like tell him to move. Like, she doesn't know. And so these things just make her, cover up. She wants to be of herself. And this book has a lot going on, okay? I'm going to give you that right up front. You're also going to have a lot of spoilers here. It's just got so much going on. And I don't even know how to start describing all of the different things that are going on in this book. Like, for example, Emma is her cousin who's come to live with her and her mother because her mom is dead and her dad is not safe. Whatever that means, no one's ever told Lydia what that means. And then her mom goes and she buys a, like, dilapidated house in the neighborhood, and they have to, like, empty it out of all the stuff and, fix it up. And the first time Lydia goes in there, she's like, holy shit, there's magic in here. Like, it's going to keep me safe. I'm going to take things from the house. They're going to keep me safe. They're going to keep people from touching me. They're going to keep the boys from, like, teasing me and, like, being gross at school. And it's going to be good. And it's going to, like, fix my friendship with, my best friend who I haven't talked to all summer. And, like, the girls at school are jealous or, like, at least concerned that Lydia doesn't enjoy the attention that she's getting from the boys because they're like, oh my god, they're flirting. They're not. There's just a lot going on all over, and I'm not even into the deepest part of this, and, like, the part that's most upsetting, which is, like, Lydia doesn't feel safe out in the world. She doesn't even get to feel safe when she comes home. Her mom's boyfriend, Jeremy, is there all of the time. He, gives hugs for a little too long, but only when her mom's not watching. He gives her and Emma candy, but makes them promise not to tell their mom. He drives her back from the beach one day, and he's like, sit up in the front seat, sit up in the front seat. You're always saying you want to be old enough to sit in the front seat. You're old enough now. Come on, we won't tell your mom. You'll sit in the front seat. And he spends the entire drive home with his hand on her knee. So there's a lot going on in this book. And, like, it's really well written from, like, a very authentic kind of, like, inner viewpoint of, like, a 12-year-old girl. Like, I was right there. I was like, I'm 12 again. It felt very, very authentic, which is what's so fucking heartbreaking about this. And, again, very well written, but, like, the tension put into almost every scene in the book because she doesn't feel safe anywhere but with her dad or alone with, like, her cousin and mom. And, like, the tension. I felt more tension in this book than I have felt in, like, some fucking thrillers where you're, like, hunting down a serial killer, okay? Like, there's so much tension in this. And it's just constant, and it's just, like, right on that tipping point, and it's just so well done. This book is just written really, really well, right? So yeah. Eventually we culminate to one of the boys at school. Actually, rewind that. I'm going to do this via the trigger warnings that I've picked out of this book. Okay? So I'm going to go from, like, least awful to most awful. The last three are kind of, like, the same. Okay. Trigger warning of divorce. Her parents are divorced. Sometimes she hears them fighting. Sometimes she sees them fighting. There's no cheating, abuse, anything. It's just, we're not a good match. We separate. So, like, she hears them fighting about her now. Now it's always about her. She knows it's always about her now. So, there's that kind of trigger. There is a matter of addiction in the book. When we find out why her cousin, Emma, why her dad is not safe and where he currently is, he is living in a halfway house after rehab. What I don't know what you call it everywhere. So he's gone to rehab because he had a drug addiction, and so he's now trying to do, like, the sober living thing, and, you know, soon he'll be able to take her, but actually they're going to be moving into the apartment that's at the back of the house they just bought so that they can be nearby, which is really nice because it's obviously Mom's brother. So, like, for a while, Lydia does think, you know, this not safe man is going to be living, you know, on the other side of the wall from me. And, like, she freaks out about it, but, like, finally her and Emma, like, they're kind of disconnected for a while, and then they come together really nicely at the end in a really awful way because they're both talking about Jeremy. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Pedophilia and grooming. Jeremy is 100% grooming these girls that he has easy fucking access to. And that's really fucking frustrating because Mom doesn't see it. Mom has to be told it. But Mom is a lawyer. And I feel like Mom as a lawyer I don't know. I feel like she's got the smarts and education. She can fucking figure this out. She lives as a girl in the world too, you know? Like, very frustrated that the mom did not pick up on it herself. That, you know, none of the adults, when Lydia is talking to them, pick up on what she's actually trying to say because she doesn't know if she's allowed to say it or not, because she doesn't know if she has a right to feel uncomfortable. So yeah, this whole thing is very much about bodily autonomy via Lydia. But yeah, very frustrated with a lot of the adults in this novel, particularly Sister Janice, the principal at her Catholic school, which leads us into the next one, sexual harassment. Boys will be boys. These boys tape little mirrors to straws to try to see up the girls' skirts, even though the girls all wear shorts. Very specifically stated that girls always all wear shorts, but they're like, ha ha ha, I'm looking up your skirt anyways. Which, like, fucking boys. And they call her Swing, because they like the way that her skirt swishes around her legs. Swings around her legs, so they call her Swing. You know, she'll sit by herself for a minute, and, you know, suddenly there's 5 of them around her, talking to her, talking about her body, and just like... So, yes, repeated sexual harassment between that and fucking Jeremy at home, like, and, you know, the disgusting grown men who purposely bump into, you know, young girls on the subway and shit like that. Like, fucking... Okay, we're not getting angry right now, Charlotte, calm down. Which leads to the next one. Sexual assault. I mean, between Jeremy being fucking gross. Her mom does freak out about this at one point, saying, is there anything worse? Kind of implying that there could be worse, but, like, not saying what the worst could be, because Lydia already feels gross that, like, she hugs him and like he gives candy and like he touched her knee and like that kind of thing. Like she already feels gross about these things, and then her mom being like, anything else? Like, but also in school. In school, the boy sitting behind her reaches out and snaps her bra. Which leads her to scream in the middle of class. Which ends up with her in the principal office of Sister Janice. Who is absolutely no fucking help at all, and don't trust a fucking nun, alright? She's just kind of like, well, we have behavioral problems with him that we're trying to fix. And she's like, well, he touched my bra. And she's like, did he touch your breast or did he touch your bra? And she's like, what's the fucking difference? Because, you know, a strap is different than a boob, I guess. And she's like, well, it was just a strap. The same thing has happened to your mom. The same thing has happened to all women everywhere. You just have to get over it. Boys will be boys. We have other bigger things to deal with him to mold him in a productive young member of society. And I'm like, she was just assaulted in your school. In a classroom. In your school during class time. What the fuck, Sister Janice? So yes, that was extremely frustrating. Yeah, like I said, all of the adults in this book are pretty fucking frustrating. Like, just for a multitude of fucking reasons. But yeah, it is an important read. I mean, people need to learn about bodily autonomy. Young kids should be able to say, like, no. Just say no. Like, I remember being a kid and it was like, oh, go hug this family member you haven't seen in 3 years. And you're just like, okay, because they want a hug. But, like, you don't fucking know who they are. And, like, you don't force your kids to do that, all right? Tell your kids that, like, they're in control of all of this. Like, if they don't want someone to touch it, they can say, I don't want you to touch me. Like, I have some huggy friends, y'all. I've had some huggy friends. And I don't feel like being touched today. Can you not? And they'll still try to hug me anyways. And it's just like, we're adults. Can you not? But yeah, it's very important to teach your kids bodily autonomy. I mean, I'm around my friends' kids a lot, and I'm like, if you want a hug, you can come have a hug. You know, they're cute. I love them. They're adorable. Like, it's fine. But, like, when I come into the house, they're going to be like, you know, and I'm not going to be like, come give me a hug. I'm going to say, hey, do you want to do a high five? And they're like, no, and they run away. Like, that's fine. I'm an adult here. I am supposed to not take offense when a kid is like, no, I want to go play. Like, fucking come on. So yeah, bodily autonomy is important, and I'm just fucking angry at every adult in this goddamn fucking book. Every last one of them. Dad, Mom, Jeremy, Sister Janice. It does culminate okay. Mom charges into the school and is like, what the fuck have you been letting happen to my daughter? And so it kind of a little bit gets resolved. It did leave me frustrated the same way that maybe he just likes you kind of did, but differently. This book has actually been compared to maybe he just likes you, and I see the parallels, yes. But yeah, the ending of, you know, this is how we're gonna do things. You can talk to us. This is fine. Like, tell us. Be in charge of yourself. Like, you need to feel okay. Right? And so it is kind of nice because it's like, okay, we've resolved this. Mom fucking got rid of Jeremy. Like, Dad says he's gonna be there more. He stood up for himself with his boss, which was causing a lot of the issues that, like, not showing up for her. And, like, now she has another safe adult in her uncle who she's, like, relearning who he is kind of thing. And, like, it wraps up okay. But at the same time, I mean, if you're a woman, you know, it's not going to stop in grade 7. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. So yeah, how to be a girl in the world. This does have a sort of creative writing element to it that some people might not like. How to be a girl in the world is basically like a little guide that Lydia is writing for herself, like in her journal kind of thing. It's like, how to do this as a girl, or like how to get over this kind of thing, or like, and she's just, it's writing, so it's like a page here and there, but like apparently in reviews of this, it's thrown a lot of people off and they really hate it, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Additionally, when reading the reviews after reading, I only read the reviews after I've read the book. There are people both simultaneously saying that the religion is not like this, so you're going to alienate people who are religious. And also, this book is religious. You're going to alienate people who aren't into religion. And I'm just like, she goes to a fucking Catholic school, and a fucking nun tells her that, like, boys will be boys, basically. Like, that's the extent of the religion in this book. And they're like, magic is gonna turn off the religious people. And I'm like, it's not even really fucking magic. Like, there's a little girl believing so hard that this house can help protect her because she's being fucking harassed. Like, come on. People be crazy. It only has 476 ratings on Goodreads, shockingly. Like, that is so low. Kind of surprised by how low it was. But they work out to 4.28 stars, which is good. A lot. I actually left a rating because I was like, that's too low of an amount of ratings. So I gave it 5 stars. I mean, it hurt a lot. I cried a lot. Multiple times. Many times. Sobbing. It's one of those books. On the back it says for ages 8 to 12. Honestly, I'm not sure I'd give it to an 8 or 9-year-old. That would definitely be an adult judgment call. And I do think if you see your kid reading this, or you want your kid to read this, that you should probably read it too and be able to discuss what's going on in the book, because like Jeremy is literally grooming these girls. And that's fucked up. So yeah, I think this one needs a little more adult supervision, which is just so unlike me to say. I feel like kids should be able to read whatever the fuck they want to read, but like, this one's a lot. So yeah. Everything kind of resolves, but not in the best way, and I do absolutely think it's worth a read. You should absolutely read this. Especially if you've existed as any amount of time as a woman in the world. Right? We know how this goes. Alright. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you around next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.